Hey all, welcome to Doobies with Doug. Doobie, Doug, nice big fat one too. Mm, Not bad. I can roll bigger, but I can't fit much more weed in my grinder than that. Grind it up in one go, so I don't usually. If need be, I'll smoke too. Got my Oscar the Grouch jacket on today. I love this jacket. It's green, it's fuzzy. Been beautiful here the last couple days. Got some prep work done for a job I got coming out. Planted a bunch of mint. I got a bunch of plastic clutches. I think I'm gonna throw some hot peppers up under them. Nothing too crazy. A couple jalapenos. And I like them Hungarian hot wax peppers too. Still haven't got my new camera. I'm like dying in anticipation for it. I see so much cool shit I can't get a picture of with a shitty ass phone camera. It's just not even funny. Fucking orcas and whales and eagles and ospreys and all kinds of crazy shit and Hakuna Matata and what have you. And soon. It's crazy. I got one person that I talked to, and they're just going to talk about everything that was on the news this week, and I'm going to go, uh huh. And then I'm going to talk about all the cool shit that I saw on the beach, and they're going to go, whoa, I can't believe you see all that cool shit. And there's other people I talk to that I tell them about all the cool shit that I saw on the beach, and then they tell me all the cool shit they saw on the beach, and that's what I call a productive conversation without any, uh huh, uh huh, uh huh. I really don't give a fuck what's going on in DC or Hollywood or New York or LA. I've no desire to be well adjusted to this society. None. It's getting dark in here. But that's better. I can see my ugly mug. Until I see a camera, I am completely unaware of what color my eyes are. I remember being almost 20 years old, someone go, what color is your eyes on the phone? I'm like, I don't know. I'd have to look. I think they're blue, more or less. Cross-eyed and bloodshot. Fuck. Speaking of weed, got a new contract coming in. I like it. Somebody's personal grow. And about a year ago, I sat down and had a conversation with her. And then about 4 months after that, I sat down and had another conversation with both of them, him and her. And they took notes. And then I've had about a dozen conversations since then as they progressed along in the grow. and they're going to pay me $350 a pound to trim it, plus a $250 uh, flat fee for bucking it in the first place. So I'll be going to handle their whole harvest for them, hanging everything up, hold their hand through the drying process so they don't freak out or make any mistakes, and then I'll trim it. And I've been made aware of the fact that I will be getting a percentage bonus of my favorite variety. Yay! You can have 4 plants here, each person, so they have 8 plants. And I set them up on a 8 light system in their pole barn. 8 double-ended 1,000-watt HID lights. Metal halide for veg, HPS for flower. You know how it works. And they had the money, so 6,000 CFM of draw on 8 lights is enough to keep any of the heat from the lights building up in the room whatsoever. You can practically get the glass right down on top of the fucking plants, almost touching it without burning them. Which means you're getting the entire plant into the bandwidth of light that needs to be used. Combine that with super light, only slightly biotic medium, and what you have is fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, Miranda Schwarzenegger, whatever. They're female, so Arnold don't fit. Annabelle. Truth be told, I name all of my plants after female porn stars. Marilyn Chambers, Seca, whoever. I Google some and look them up, find some new ones. There's about 20 different ones named Amber something. And there's a reason for this. What you're trying to do with a marijuana plant is create the most highly sexualized female you possibly can. That's it. The resin glands that contain the THC that gets you high is the reproductive juices of the plant. You want some horny bitches in your grow room. That's what you're looking for. The hornier they are, the better. Right? Which is where anybody that speaks Latin and follows the next sentence can figure out a trade secret that only me and 3 other people in the country know. Alleliopathogenic treatment of male root rhizome. Dun dun dun. Once you get through the alleliopathic part, you'll know what I'm talking about. You have to look that word up first. Hemmily gibbledy ebbly bibbly wabbly woolly bop. Oh, the whole earth's going wibbly wobbly. Where'd he go? There he is. Whew. That was a case of word I go. Got the wah-wahs. Ooh-wee. There's high quality marijuana. The other thing, when I get a camera, I've been feeding birds out here. And I've got dark-eyed juncos and cardinals and goldfinches and robins and Not the blue jays like they have back east. They're called stellar jays out here. They're taller, and they have instead of having the blue and white on them, they're all blue, and then they have a big black crown that sticks up. They're really neat looking. And they all come down here and hang out, and I'm starting to get more and more of them since I've been feeding them different kinds. A couple I don't know. One's a chipping sparrow, I think. Chickadees. And, yeah, I'm an old man watching birds. And I feed the red squirrel, and he's got like little fucking freaky ears. All nuts looking. So I can't wait to have the camera for that, so I can introduce the world to all my little friends that I have here. The ferret hasn't come back in a while. Twice I had a neighbor's ferret. Well, it's not a neighbor. They live like 6 blocks over that way. Twice a ferret has just fucking came in my house and climbed in my lap. I don't even know his name. And first time he came, I called the cops on him because I couldn't figure out what else to do. Well, I didn't call the cops. I called the animal shelter, and they sent a county sheriff out here to get him. Animal control cop that works for the county sheriff. And she come and got him. The second time I showed up, she gave me her card, so I called her, and I'm like, "Where'd you take that ferret?" She said, "Well, I can't tell you that, but I'll come get him again." I'm like, all right. I can't have no fucking ferret, man. Ferrets are cool and all, but they're fucking carnivores for one. And I don't do meat. So he'd be a skinny ass motherfucking ferret around here. And I don't know how well they'd fucking do on crab. I can get him all the crab he wants. Them little red fuckers, but it's just a ferret. He probably, I don't know. We'll see. Or not. I ain't trying to keep no ferret. He don't seem to know that because he comes through whatever straight here both times. Weird. I've always had a weird thing with animals, though. Just certain animals, even wild ones. I've had just wild ass animals just come hang out with me like fucking Alice in Wonderland or some shit. Rabbits, just fucking not at all afraid of me. Deer, fucking foxes, uh, not a badger. I've never met a badger that wasn't an asshole. Badgers are just born fucking dickheads. All of them. He's ornery. Fuck a badger. We're really fucking ripped on this joint. I can't find my roach clips. Gotta use my backups. Which my friend who died of cancer a year and a half ago, he went by the name 40. That's what that says, 4TY 40. That was his name. He made this one day. My buddy gave it to me after he died. My fucking cancer took his ass in a hurry. Couple weeks. So I've been watching a lot of these audits, a lot of these cop watches, and I'm telling you, it's having a fucking profound change. For one of the things I've just seen that's starting to happen is lawyers. Lawyers are starting to watch these audits and watch these cases and get into them and be waiting. It's not as hard for these cats to find legal representation as it used to be. And they're starting to put together foundations for representation for citizen journalists and shit like that. And it's fucking cool. Now, people ask me, why are these citizen journalists so important? Well, I saw a video today out of Uvalde, Texas, where there's some parents and some reporters in City Hall in Uvalde, Texas, asking questions about this fucking shooting. And the fire marshal, of all people, comes to tell these reporters, you guys have to go outside because you're making people uncomfortable. And these motherfucking corporate press, ABC, NBC, all these guys, pack their shit up and leave. An auditor a citizen journalist is going to make them throw them out of the building. They're going to make them violate their constitutional rights. Because if you go back and listen to everything the fire marshal said, he never actually said you have to leave the building. He just really made it sound like they needed to leave. Right? For one, he's just a fire marshal. He has no authority over the building unless there's a fire code infraction. He has no right to tell anybody anything. Secondly, and like I said, an auditor knows this is public property. You can't throw me out of City Hall any more than you can throw me off the fucking sidewalk. It's public property. I can be here. And if it makes you uncomfortable, go buy some tampons because you're on your period. It's a camera. It's people asking fucking questions. It's the fucking press. The press isn't Fox. The press isn't AP, GP, Reuters. That's not the press. That's the media. That's entertainment. Okay? These people are not going to hold the government accountable. They're not. They're bootlickers. All of them. If your kid was one of those kids in Uvalde, okay, the video just came out. Proof that they had ballistic fucking shields and fucking AR-15s. 17 minutes into this interaction, they had video of those cops having that equipment in that hallway and never going through that fucking door. And the fact that the press and the parents were down there wanting answers as to why, fucking well better make you uncomfortable, motherfucker. And you better have some motherfucking answers. And for these lily-livered, spineless, bootlicking fucking morons to pack up their shit and leave that city hall is traitorous. It's a spitting in the face of journalism. It's not the press. The minute they were asked to leave, they should have thrown a fucking protest. If those reporters, and there was quite a few of them, ABC, NBC, whoever, local TV stations, if they had stood there and said, no, we're not leaving, and the cops came and threw them out, could have owned that whole fucking town. They could have sued them for so many fucking millions and millions of dollars because they're NBC and CBS. They could have fired Johnny Cochran or who the fuck ever. They could afford the best lawyers in the world and they're going to get the best. They're the fucking television. So they're going to get the most fucking press on your ass that you've ever seen in your life. They could have just said, no, I'm not leaving, and sued the living fucking bejesus out of Uvalde if they tried to make them leave. If a cop had come in there and told him he had to leave because he was making people uncomfortable by practicing his First Amendment, that cop was guilty of Title 42 and Title 18 U.S.C. 242 and 241. Intimidation under the color of law that leads to the deprivation of the right. You can't do that. But they did it. And these stupid fucking yellow bastards packed up their shit and left. And we need to get these auditors to Uvalde. We need guys like News Now Community and the people that are in Texas. We need them there. We need them holding these fuckers accountable. If Fox and NBC and CBS are going to tuck tail and run from the goddamn fire marshal, unless they're blocking a fire exit, the fire marshal has as much authority there as the fucking janitor. So not only are they tyrants and thugs who make up reasons to pull you over just so they can extort you, violate your rights, treat you like a criminal, incarcerate you in a box wrongfully, knowing they're doing so wrongfully, and then when you need them, they're fucking mealy-mouthed cowards. Did you see that little Latino woman that ran in the school to get her kids? Someone should have handed that bitch a gat. She had more balls than every last one of them coward fucking pigs. They're all cowards. It's a cowardly job. The job is only fit for cowards, thugs, and tyrants. Liars and thieves. You can't be a cop and not lie. You can't be a cop and not lie for a living. For a living, that's what they do. Everything that a cop does is a misrepresentation of the truth. It's their job. Their job is to incriminate you so they can enforce law. That's it. That's all their job is. Well, and to enforce it. But first they need to incriminate you. That's all their job is. It's not to protect you. It's not to help you. It's not to provide service to you. Have you ever carried 2 gallons of gas 5-6 miles? It sucks. In the winter, especially, it really fucking sucks. You know how many times I've done it and had the cops just roll by me 2-3 times while I'm doing it? Or stop and harass me for ID? Like I haven't ran the plates in my car sitting alongside the road out of fucking gas already? Fuck's sake. Harass and extort. Keep the dungeons full. There is nothing honorable about enforcing tyranny, about enforcing the racist practices and policies of a corrupt government. There's nothing honorable about it. The cops suppressing people today are using the same mindset to make themselves okay with it that the cops who were turning dogs loose on black people in the 60s and that were returning slaves to the plantation before that used. It's the same logic. It's for the greater good. It's necessary for me to lie to everyone I meet in an attempt to circumvent their rights, because if I do that, I catch more criminals. But they don't. They create more crimes. I've read a series of maybe 30 different studies on crime in the last 2 years. And they all seem to say that class or economic status, which is the same thing in this country, has everything to do with crime. And nothing can be pointed to that says melanin in your skin does. Poverty, lack of advancement, lack of ability is what drives crime. most crime isn't the crime of passion, kill your girlfriend type of. That's the once in a while sensationalist shit that doesn't get solved by street cops anyway. Most crime is just small petty shit. Well, actually, most crime is not even crime. Most crime is just drug possession. That's the most common crime in America. Crime, not a crime. So what the fuck good are they? They don't prevent crime. There's no fucking evidence whatsoever that increasing the number of police in a given area reduces crime. In fact, it increases crime because they're just arresting everybody. There's no more crimes reported. There's just a lot more cops out there in that same area, so they're just arresting everybody for every fucking thing. And most of it's not even a real crime. You see where this is going? If we hired police to sweep the streets, they would be importing garbage from one city to another and putting it in the streets. And charging everybody double for the service. We're paying them to do something they're not doing. The absolute fucking idiocy of it. Stop and think about it. How difficult is it to keep people from speeding in this day and age? You're telling me they can't put a chip in every fucking car that won't allow you to speed? They can't, huh? It's impossible. For fuck's sake. Governors, they're not trying to solve the problems. They're trying to generate revenue and keep the dungeons full. The dungeons are a multi-billion-dollar industry. And they're a huge tool for societal control. The elements that are seeking freedom are the same ones that are targeted for the dungeon. The people who have been historically oppressed in this country are the same ones being sent to the dungeon today, unjustly. Or even if they are being sent to prison for real crimes that really did happen, the causation of those crimes can be directly drawn from the fucking oppression that individual was born into. Where are the politicians that grew up in the ghetto? That know what the ghetto is, that know what it does to the human mind, to grow up in neglect, to grow up in toxicity, to grow up in filth and danger, and be terrified of the police. Where are these people? How come they're not writing legislations? Why is everybody in the motherfucking whole show, whether from the justice system or from the world of business? How many of our fucking politicians are just people? When was the last poor congressman you heard of? And I mean poor. I said it before, I said it again. Thomas Paine was a true patriot. Thomas Jefferson learned how to weaponize freedom. The minute the Constitution was ratified by our brand new Congress and black people were not set free, this experiment was doomed to fail. Enjoy it while it lasts. So this is a long way around to my Juneteenth rant. Because you can't talk police accountability without tracing them to the roots, which is slave catchers, and observing what they have been used for mostly. Okay? What is it, Greenwood, Tulsa massacre in the 20s was carried out by police. The vast majority of lynchings were carried out by LEO or winked at by LEO or law enforcement enforced Jim Crow. Law enforcement enforced stupid, retarded fucking voting laws. Law enforcement enforced vagrancy laws, which was invented to put slaves back to work after the end of the fucking war. Law enforcement has always enforced corruption upon the people because the system has always been corrupt and the system has always been racist. Hate to break it to you, Joe Biden, deep in his heart, does not think black people are equal to him. And people want to talk about, oh, well, the black people are trying to recover from this long period of oppression. Ongoing. Ongoing. Fuck the daughters of the Confederacy for fucking you all out of an education if you don't already know this. Slavery was not completely abolished for black people in the United States until World War II. Till just before World War II. And the only reason that slavery was abolished was because the president had a special counsel about what could the Japanese use against us in the war as successful propaganda. And that was one of the things on the top of the list, that America had never truly abolished slavery, but had changed it from slavery to the prison system. There were millions of black people were arrested before they ever got a mile from the fucking plantation for made up black code laws and stuck right back in a prison camp to work. Most probably the same plantation they just came from. And they could be hunted down and killed for leaving. Slavery didn't go away completely until just before World War II. And at that point, there were still hundreds of thousands of black people in slavery. The fucking prison pipeline. I ain't making none of this shit up, man. You can read all the fuck about it. Library of Congress. So Juneteenth is kind of a joke, in a way. Made up by the white people. Again. Because slavery didn't end. There was still millions of blacks enslaved well into the early 19th century. Tens of thousands of blacks were sold to the United States Army in clandestine contracts from a fucking mining company in Colorado to go fight in World War One. And this is all fucking documented history, people. It's ongoing. You're 4 times more likely to be pulled over by the police if you're black. You're twice as likely to get charges. Your charges are twice as likely to stick. And then you're going to get a fucking sentence that's anywhere from 20 to 30% higher. Your chances of parole and successful probation are way slimmer just because of the fucking melanin in your skin. Today, your bond is going to be higher. I've seen it with these eyeballs, these ones, so many fucking times. I was locked up with a kid, 17 years old. He got caught with 5 crack rocks in 2 little baggies. And they charged him with possession with the intent to deliver and distribute cocaine. He got 13 fucking years. For not even an 8-ball worth of coke, really, because they weren't that good at crack rocks. Meanwhile, I got buddies that got fucking 90 days in jail and a year's probation for an ounce of fucking flake, you know, because they had a lawyer and they were white. Fucking me and my buddy, we got arrested down in Georgia. That was kind of funny. We got arrested for a joint. And he's like, which one of you are going to claim it? Because it was on the floor. And the cop fucking points it at me and goes, is this yours? And I grabbed it and said, it's ours. And I went like this, and me and him ripped it in half and stood there holding half of it. Like, take us both, motherfucker. Because we were drunker than fuck. And so he took us to jail. And I didn't really have anything on my record or anything like that. And neither one of us was from Georgia. We were both from out of state. He was from Wisconsin. I was from Michigan. And they set my bond at $500. They set his at $5,000. And I'm like, what? Why? The only difference between the two of us at all was that he was black. I'm like, welcome to Georgia. Yeah, the system's racist. Drug war is racist. It was designed to be racist. Okay, this is where the drug war came from. For you motherfuckers that were too stoned to pay attention to all of this shit, holy fuck. In the 60s, white college kids weren't racist for the first time ever. They were into peace and love and happiness and fuck the Vietnam War. And at the same time, soldiers were coming back from Vietnam. Black, white, yellow, brown. And they were mixing into these people. And it caused this whole fucking dynamic. And it nearly tore the fucking country apart. And an entire style of music was born from it. And a fucking drug culture that is still one of the biggest elements in America today all came out of this. And the government's answer for that was the drug war. Because when they realized that the vast majority of white people were no longer racist, they had to take Jim Crow and take the racism out of it and be able to oppress people without saying that's what they were doing. We can't limit you because you're black or Mexican or Chinese, but we can limit you because you use weed or you fucking smoke opium or you use heroin. The president that spawned the drug war openly admitted that that's what he was doing it. Why he was doing it. His words were to control the N-word and hippies. He said by vilifying black people and associating them with heroin, and Mexicans and associating them with cocaine, and the hippies and associating them with weed. We can vilify all three groups on the nightly news night after night after night, and it worked. It worked. And it's still working all over the country, throughout the whole country. This evil fucking war it's racist. It was born straight out of racism. Drug laws have been on the books forever, since the 30s. And they weren't really enforced unless it was for racist reasons. The drug war was, we're going to stop doing this to just colored people because the white kids are getting in fucking out of control. And pretty soon they're going to outnumber us, old fucking mashed potato and gravy eating fucking squares, and they're going to take over the world. Because they're tired of our oligarchy system. That's what the people in the 60s were rebelling against, the war machine. And we've only let it amp up since then, instead of fixing it. Lots of talking music. Let's hope these kids got it going on. Shit. They're sure getting a flaming bucket of shit to deal with. Anyway, that's my rant about Juneteenth today. White people, stop being assholes. Own your shit. Stop letting cults exist in your fucking country. Especially cults that fucking have rules for beating slaves. And grow the fuck up. And we'll be okay. Probably not.